My name is Leslie Painter Farrell, and it's my distinct honor to welcome you today to a New York State TESOL webinar. Today, it's going to be Dr. Linda Silbert, who's going to introduce us to the Learn method. Linda has dedicated over 40 years to the enhancement of children's cognitive, emotional, and social development. She lectures and leads workshops and webinars. She actually told me that she was at NICE TESOL 2 years ago and will be probably this fall. She has served as a classroom teacher, administrator, private tutor, and has written over 50 books. So without further ado, I'm going to let Linda take over. Just a few housekeeping things. One, if you do write in the chat box, please make sure that you write to everybody rather than individuals. Post your questions there. Linda will answer them as she gives herself time to. And make sure you're muted, although Linda and Al would like you to keep your camera on so that they can see you. So over to you, Linda.
Thank you so much. Everybody can hear me? There, I'm fine. Good. Okay. Welcome to the Learn method. And as you see on your screen, it says the easiest way to make learning happen. And I have to tell you, after years and years and years of teaching, it's really a very easy way because it's just logical. I know I see a lot of people have paper and pencil with you. You can take as many notes as you like, but at the end of the webinar, you're going to receive free resources. So you'll be receiving a lot of materials. So don't worry too much about getting everything because we're going to be giving you a lot of different things. Okay, let's begin. But actually, before I begin, I want to just say thank you. Thank you to all of you because you are the teachers that understand how much work it is to be a teacher. You know, I always have parents coming into us. My husband and I own a private practice up in Westchester. And without fail, a parent will come in and say, no, they're not learning. The teacher didn't do this. They're always upset with the teachers. And I say to them, did you ever have a birthday party for your child? Maybe you had 10 kids, 8 kids, maybe even 12. I mean, you had a lot of kids there. They were with you for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And by the time they left, you were exhausted. That's what it's like being a teacher. Every single day, the whole day, and you may have 25, 30 kids, and you have to teach them something. You have to engage them. You have to keep them engaged. They have to practice. And if they don't learn, the parents usually come in and it's the teacher's fault. Well, I just want to say to all of you, thank you. Usually when I'm in a big crowd and before COVID, everyone would stand up and shake hands with each other to thank them. But right now, we're on Zoom, so just thank yourself, pat yourselves on the back. And I'm just saying, for my husband and myself, thank you. I'm going to move on and let's begin with the Learn method. What is this? What this is. After teaching, my husband's a retired physics teacher. I was a school counselor, reading teacher, third grade teacher, and then working with administration. We've been there, the whole gamut after all these years. And the Learn method is really common sense. Follow the child, follow human beings. It's organic. What happens is when someone learns, it's LEARN. We put that acronym together and you'll see I love acronyms. But here's what this is. Actually, you're sitting there, put your arms straight out and with they're level to the floor. Okay, you see this. The L. Begin at the L for learn, level. What does this mean? Before you can teach anybody anything, find out where they're at. What do they know? If you start teaching about the atom and about nuclear fusion, and a child hasn't even learned anything about this. If I start now with all of us, including myself, I don't even know what anybody would be talking about. You must begin at the level of the child. If it's too high, they will learn nothing. And again, if it's too low, they'll love it because it's just fun. They know it already. But they're not going to progress. They're not going to move on. So I will get into it soon to show you how to find the level. E, That's the brain. Make believe you're the star. You have your level. Now the brain. Engage. You've got to engage that child's brain. Every reading program, every program I've ever seen says we engage the child. Maybe they do, but the secret is, how do you keep them engaged? Because within a few minutes, even as an adult, you're going to lose them. The mind's going to drift off. How do you keep them engaged? That's the A in learn. Okay. And if you do this, that's your other arm. A, activate. Activate the brain and the body, especially children, because they want to play. So you have to find activities, singing, being in plays, playing games that will activate them, keep them engaged, and moves right on to the R in the star. The R is rehearse. We could have used the word repetition, practice, whatever it is. They have to practice and practice and practice. And most children do not want to practice. I don't blame them, especially the children that it's hard for. So the child who's first learning the language, or the dyslexic child, it's difficult. And some of these children you're going to be working with may be first learning the language, but some of them may have actual learning issues like dyslexia or other type of learning challenges. So how do you keep them engaged? You play, follow them organically, and the rehearsal, the repetition is going to happen automatically because they're playing and they're playing and they're playing and they're practicing without knowing it, which is great. Okay, N stands for a neurological change. Okay, that means that the learning has actually taken place. Well, you can't start doing MRIs and you can't start taking x-rays, or how do you find out? Reassess. Take the assessment you began with at the beginning, you use it again at the end. Was there learning? Did learning take place? Okay, we're going to go through this a lot of repetition. And you'll see how this is going to work, how the learn method actually works. Now, you can use this method with anything. I don't care if you're teaching science, if you're teaching physics, if you're teaching chemistry, if you're teaching history, English, it doesn't matter. Now, what we specialize in is reading. We have a lot of other programs, but we have an entire reading program for the beginning reader. Okay, begins with the alphabet. So I'm going to use that program that we have as an illustration to show you how to use the learn method. It's organic, as I said before. It will flow naturally. Let's move on. Here we are back to our star. Okay, now let's say, picture yourselves. Who are you teaching? Are you teaching a child who is in kindergarten, is first learning the English language? Maybe they know English. Maybe they just have to learn to read. Are you teaching a middle school child, an adult? Whoever you're teaching, think about it. How are you going to find their level? Where do you begin? Okay, if you're using our program, which I said we're going to use today as the example, we have an assessment, and you see along the top it says L, it's in red, level. We have an assessment to find out exactly where the child is, so that you now say, okay, let's see if they know the alphabet. Now, I have to tell you, don't assume they all know it. I've actually worked with kids over the years. My husband and I have been working with children for over 40 years, adults, children, anyone that wants to learn. Or doesn't want to learn, and they're with us. Begin with the alphabet. I've actually had some kids that come in, they could be high school, they could be middle school, and I go to our assessment, and let's say we begin with the alphabet, which is line 3 and 4, I think, here. And you actually go there. You're all going to get this, by the way, before you leave today. It's under free resources. And I've gone through it, and many of the kids have stopped. They go, that's a W? U? I always get confused with that one. Now, you can't read if you get confused with the letter and the sound that letter makes. So many kids end up having trouble because somewhere along the line, they fell through the cracks and they didn't pick some of these things up. So make sure you begin with the alphabet, okay? If you look above it, we have pictures. That has to do with the capability of rhyming. Children who have dyslexia have a very difficult time rhyming, and you will know quickly, is this child having trouble because they're first learning the language, or a combination of that and maybe some sort of a disability. It's difficult to do with children just learning the language because they don't know the words and the rhyming, so you may just skip it. If you feel they know enough of the language, you can definitely try looking at it. Therefore, most of the children would begin with the alphabet. And you'll see it's uppercase, lowercase, and they are not in order because I don't want them coming because they've memorized it. A, B, C, D. They're random. And you'll know definitely if they know the letters of the alphabet or not. Don't worry about the sounds here. These are just the letters. Now, if you find that they don't know the letters, at least 3 of them or 4 of them, even 2 of them, you'll have to teach it to them. But if you feel that they're missing more than 3 or 4, I would say just spend a little time with the alphabet. And here's a song that is great. I'm going to have you all sing it, and it'll just help them. The repetition. Many of the teachers do this at the beginning of every class, especially when they're learning the alphabet. They sit down on those little mats in the classroom or on Zoom in the morning. And here's how it goes. You go, when at school, I learn my letters A, B, C, and D. Now the children sing that with you, and then you sing with an, and you hold up the letter with an, and I see people moving their lips. Yes, with an A here, and then, and they say it. A there, here an A, there an A, everywhere an A. When at school, I learn my letters A, B, C, and D. Now, you continue, and then another day you do same song with B. And next day, same song with C, and then D. Then you start singing it by mixing it up with, I'd look at the second paragraph, with an A here, and B there, here a C, there a D, everywhere N, A, B. When at school, I learn my letters A, B, C, and D. Now, when I do this with the kids, and I've watched other teachers, they start going faster and faster and faster, and the children, the little ones, love it. They're giggling. Now, do this with adults. You don't have to do it as a game, but it becomes funny. It becomes silly. Meantime, they have to keep recognizing the letters. Now, many people teach the alphabet in different ways. Our program, it's the Strong Learning Program, is based on the song A, B, C, D, E, because most children do learn that first. And so how you learn is what you already have in your brain, in the long-term memory. So you have to come up with something that they connect to what's already in their long-term memory. And little children start singing this at a very early age. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I follow that pattern so that they can jump in with something they already know. At this point, I'm going to go back to our own program, to the alphabet. If you get on that assessment, you see they need to learn the alphabet. Besides the song, if you look on the top, engage them, activate, and then rehearse and rehearse. That's what we're up to, not up to neural change yet. Just what are you going to do to keep them engaged? And they practice and practice so they will learn. Okay, we came up with the actual alphabet book. And the whole program, by the way, is, I'm just going to show you this. It begins with the Tale of Tiger Tuesday. And the program is called the Tiger Tuesday Reading Program for K through, and we say 2+, according to Common Core, gets to the end of 2nd grade. And the children are basically ready now to move into 3rd. So here, this is part of the program. If you're interested at all at the end and have any questions, I can explain it. But the alphabet book, here it is. It's a book. It has 115 pages, and it goes in order, chunks, again, A, B, C, D. And you'll have all types of activities for A, B, C, D in upper and lower case. You have the writing practice for the letters, circling of the letters, uppercase, lowercase. You may just want to do just uppercase at the beginning. You may decide to do both at the same time. And then it goes into coloring. All different activities just for A, B, C, D, upper and lower case. Once we're done with that, we move on to the next four letters. Okay. And the whole book is like that. So when a child sits down, they're used to it. They know, okay, oh, this is the coloring page. Plus, by the way, for children learning English, what we've done, the coloring pages have the words and they color different colors. Like it says, color the circles, A's, in red. Color the circles with B's in blue. So we have them learning the word circle. We have them learning the colors. And it's each part of it is thought through very carefully. How much can they absorb? How much will they learn at that point? People have to go slowly and they need very little at a time. Give very little. That's why we chunk everything to 3, 4s, or 5 things to learn, and that's it. That's why your zip codes are 5 digits. That's why your social security cards are chunked into 3s and 4s. Think about your phone numbers. Okay, you have your area code, 3s and 4s. Credit cards. Somehow in school we don't do this, but that's how people learn. That's how they memorize things. People can memorize in chunks of 3s, 4s, 5s very easily. So the book and all of our material is set up in chunks. And then we have card games. And you see here we have the alphabet card games. Now, every deck that we have in anything they're going to be learning is one deck, and then you have up to 15 different games you could play with every deck. It doesn't matter whether you're doing diphthongs. It doesn't matter whether you're doing short vowels, CVC. It doesn't matter. You can play the same 15 games, some 13, some 14, but most of them is up to 15. We even just added gin rummy because we have so many teenagers and adults and middle school kids, and they happen to love it. And it doesn't matter what game they're playing, which deck they're using. You can play all these games. Again, at the very end, you are going to be able to download all 15 games when you go to free resources. And now we also have, if you look on your screen, it says Alphabet Bundle. And that's all downloadable. And it's the same price as if you buy the alphabet book. Some people are in the classroom still and they want every child to have their own book. Others can use the downloadable for in class, or they can use it on Zoom. And they just download it and email the children that morning what they'll be using, the paperwork that they'll be using. Include in there's 113 different activities for the alphabet, following the exact book, the Alphabet Fun Book, with Tiger and his family, who they'll meet in the storybook, as I mentioned before. And they become comfortable because they know the family, they know all the stories. And there you have your alphabet bundle. Also the same $14.99 as if you bought the book. And it comes with the games right there. You just have to cut them out. You may want to laminate them, use better paper when you print the games up. But you have your options. But that's just what happens when the child becomes, when you're evaluating them and you see they need practice with the alphabet. Now let's go back to the assessment. We're back to the level, the L again. Now let's say they get stuck with the consonant sounds, okay? So what happens then? Sing your song. And you'll go like, when at school, I learned my consonants, B, K, D, and F. With, and all of you would say with, that's right, B, B here, and K, K there, here, Duh. There, whoops, it is. Everywhere, buh, duh. When at school, I learned my consonant sounds. Buh, ka, duh, and f. And you can sing this in the morning again, sing at the end of the day. Just keep reminding them that that little bit of practice, continuous practice, engagement, activate brain and the mind and the body. Now, again, we have the consonant book. It's a very simple program. It's everything follows. Here you have your consonant book. And in this book, we have all the consonants, same repetition. And we also include all the consonant blends and digraphs. And then we have the card games, as you see, beginning consonant sounds. And then you can play the game consonant blends and digraphs. And then you can buy the entire bundle again. So we have all this if they get stuck on the consonants. They must know these two things, the alphabet and the consonant sounds. Now, here's the tricky part because most children get through this part. Now we're going to get up to the vowels. That's where, and I see a lot of you shaking your heads. Yeah, the vowels. And I have children that come to me and they walk in and we're talking. I say, do you know the vowels? Did they teach you that yet? Yeah. A, I, W, Y, G. I mean, they don't have it. Many of these children that are struggling do not have the vowels. I would say begin with your song, and this is a great one to do this with. When at school, I learned my vowels: A, E, I, O, U, with an A here and an E there. And meantime, you're going to be holding it up here and I, and you're going to be holding them up, as the children are singing it. But A, E, I, O, U, they learn it quickly. And for the few children that can't pick it up in 5 minutes, I just tell them, did anyone ever owe you money? I owe you? And they go, oh, I know that. Well, just put AE in front. Two things you can remember immediately. You can't go past, you start getting into 6 or 7 things to remember a list. Very difficult. When you have that, by the way, chunk the list. 3s and 4s, 2 and 4. Do chunk it. Keep it simple, simple, simple. And they will learn the vowels immediately. Now, we now have the book, the CVC. Now, once you start with the CVC book, it's the CVC, and there's 5 in this little series. The CVC, VCE, I'm going to go through them, digraphs, arc controlled, and diphthongs. Everyone follows the same exact pattern in these books. And you have, the first thing you have, it introduces the CVC words that you'll be using right there, right at the beginning. Then it goes into other words that'll be in the story. And the children love using highlighters. I say to them, okay, give me your word and let me see if I can find it. And I always act like I can't. And then they highlight it. And then I say, okay, let me give you a word and you find it. They love the highlighters, which keeps them also engaged. And then it goes into a very short story. We don't have much on a page. I'll show you. This is Tiger Tuesday Goes Fishing. Okay, that's it. It's very short. There's a little more on the next page. And then it goes into, remember, there are 7 chapters in every book. And they combine, there's a combination of the words for that little story, then the story. Then we have, do you remember, for comprehension, and then we have do you know, and there's always 2 little math problems about the story, using the story, and then there's 2 little spelling problems using the story. From there we go into 7 different activities so they can practice spelling and writing. We have word scrambles. We have all different activities to find the word, name the game. We have phonics fun here, which is one that they have to fill in the actual vowel. Okay, and there's 7 different pages. Then at the end of each chapter, it's the actual story in play form. So now for fluency, they can actually put on the play. Again, it keeps them engaged. Let me show you the play. They sit, they're never looking for pictures. They're looking for what each one says. They're looking for who they want to be, highlight, and they sit and they're busy highlighting everything. You do not lose them. That's the whole secret of all this. And they're constantly thinking and thinking. Now, again, the whole thing comes in the downloadable bundle. You get 78 pages with your plays and everything, and then you have all your games. So you could do it either way, and then you have your card decks. Okay, you have, there are 4 different decks for CVC. You have your actual CVC short vowel card decks where you have to match the words. Let's say you're playing Go Fish, which is one of the most popular games for little kids. They love the Go Fish. Some love memory. Crazy Eights is fabulous with this one. All your directions are in that booklet you're going to download at the end. You'll have directions for all the games. Okay, so now you have CVC where you would say you have your 5 cards and you go, okay, I have fun. Do you have fun? And you can play 4 or 5 children at a time at a table. Or you could play, I just play one-on-one because I have the parents there a lot. So they'll be part of the game. They take it home for homework. And the parents come back, go, oh my God, if I play one more game of Go Fish. Okay, now we also have it right next to it. You see, it says the same 3 letter. It's different because now it's for fluency. The word itself, every word in the deck is going to be used in a sentence. And I made up pretty silly sentences, only using some sight words combined with the CVC words. So introducing some of the sight words. And you're playing the same game. You can play Go Fish, whatever you want to play, all the same. They select the game, by the way, which is it empowers them. You know the level. You know where they're at. And you say, what do you want to play? And they go, oh, I want to play memory today. No, I want to play Go Fish. No, I want to play. They're going to tell you, or they want to play Gin Rummy. Now you see there's 2 more decks under that. This is where it's the short vowels again, but with 4 and 5 letters. And this way we introduce all the different blends and the digraphs, the consonant digraphs. So moving on, we're back. Suppose we get stuck with the VCE. This is a hard one, a very hard one for them. They have to literally sit because they're going from the short ah to o, ah to a. Okay, very difficult for them. VCE book, 7 stories again. You have your 7 stories. You have same exact routine. And there's a story, a play, activities in the middle, 7 different stories. The reason I put all this into one book, just VCE, is because over the years, I like a lot of the programs out there, but there's not enough repetition for those children who are struggling or just learning English and then first learning English and now learning how to read. I've used these books, by the way, with older kids also, and they're fine with it because they just want to achieve. And adults, they are so motivated. They don't care. They are so thrilled. And we do a play and we're both hysterical laughing. But they feel good because they could read. They can do this. Okay, again, there you have your book. You can download it. Here's all your card games. I always throw in little stories. I can't. One time I was with a little girl, actually just had learned the language. She was already in 4th grade and really stuck on the VCE. Somehow she got through CVC, and we're playing Go Fish. And I said, I have hop. Do you have hope? And she goes, that's with the E. Oh, so the ah says, oh, that's what that's about? And that was like, oh my God, she got it. Okay. And you're all sitting there going, oh, when the child gets it, it's so exciting. And then you have your fluency. And what I added to this little group, the VCE, I did the suffixes S, ES, ED, and ING. And the two bottom decks, one of just the words for CVC and VCE. When you add your S, when you add an ED, so they start learning when you have to double that final consonant, and they'll start seeing it by playing the games. And then again, in fluency. So they now have all these words actually in a sentence. By the way, a lot of the teachers say you have to read 30 minutes a night. You have to read 20 minutes a night. And so many of these kids don't want to do that. It is torture for them. If you take these card games, I've timed them. It takes about 15 minutes per game, whichever deck you're using. In an hour, you have now read a lot. You between playing these games, 4 different games in the hour, it's close to a good chapter of a book. I've sent them to school. I have to say it's rare if a teacher says this is fine for homework. No, they have to read a book. Reading is reading. They have to learn to read. It's not just books they're going to be reading. They're going to have their whole life, everything around them is reading. They have to learn to read. So they must get engaged and they must be activated. They must keep practicing and rehearsing. So it doesn't matter. Now, whether you're using our program, anyone else's, that's up to you. The whole point of the Learn program is to keep that child engaged at the correct level. And they also practice. Let's move on. Now we're again long vowels. 2 vowels go walking. First one does the talking, and now we're up to the digraphs, your vowel digraphs. Somehow this seems to be a little easier for some of them rather than the VCE. And again, same exact process. It's Tiger Tuesday and his family, his mom and dad and his siblings. I won't go into the whole story, like who they are and why they're all different nationalities, and it's their own little family with their own little frog as a pet and a dog as a pet. But the children become used to the family. They are now in the plays. They're playing different people in the family. It's a feeling of comfort and safety, and it makes them feel good. They know what to expect. They know every chapter. They know what to expect, and they know which pages they like. And because I meet with children for an hour, I don't have them do every page. I don't go in any order. I make sure I'm at the right level. And then I say to them, let's put together a schedule. What do you want to do for the hour? And let's put 4 things. And I'll say to them, I want to do, and I'd like to read the story or the play. Which one do you want? It empowers them. They're part of it. They feel so good. The emotional piece is critical. I know now they're telling everyone to incorporate SEL into the education, social emotional learning. Every single thing we have in any of our products covers social and emotional learning. Our whole reading program, Tiger Tuesday, covers it. Because I actually did my doctoral dissertation on the antecedents of self-esteem in children. How do they develop this self-esteem, this feeling of self-worth? Why do some children have it and others don't? It's not just going through a program in school, a SEL program. It's you, the teacher. It's how they perceive you, perceive them. Okay. In a child's life, it begins with mom, universally number 1, dad. Okay. And then it goes to teachers. You are critical in their lives. And if they perceive you're giving them power, you know what game do you want? Let's do this together. And you're showing respect. You're showing you accept them. This is what helps a child develop that feeling of self-worth, because self-worth is not always steady. In certain situations, and you feel those people don't like you. You know yourself. You walk into a room and you feel everyone loves you. You walk in, you feel great. your self-esteem is high. You walk into a room where you're uncomfortable and you're thinking, oh my gosh, everyone else has black shoes on, I'm wearing brown. I just don't fit in. That self-esteem plummets. For children to learn in school, they have to know that teacher, that significant other with them, accepts them. And they will feel good and they'll move on. Okay, let's move on now. Here's all the books. There you have your book, your games, and your bundle again. And now let's go are controlled. Let's say that's where they get stuck. Again, you have your book. Here we go. Your games and your bundle. Now we get to your diphthongs. That's where our program stops because usually that's near the end of second grade. If they can do the diphthongs, or they can't, they get stuck here, you would then go and work on one of these, or no, buy one of these to work on with the children. Or if you have it, this is what you need there. Now, I'm going to show you a game that is just great. I usually work this into many of my webinars, but I can't do it. It's just too many people here. Bingo. It's not regular bingo. You can do this with every level, whether you're starting with your alphabet or whether you're going to start with your VCE or VC. It doesn't matter. When you download your directions, okay, at the very end now, you're going to download your directions of 15 different games. You will get this, a 9-square bingo sheet, and you're going to get a 25-square bingo sheet. The little ones, the younger children, or the very beginning readers, or people who don't have the confidence yet or need a little more practice, begin with the 9-square. Now, and then you move on to the 25-square. What this is, I don't give you the words. You don't give the children the words. You give them the word list. Every one of our games, every level we have word lists that come with it. The word list, they then take the word list. You email them, say, oh, we're going to play bingo, and they'll get it at home. You'll email it to them. We're doing this on Zoom a great deal. We're actually even having webinars in the evening with parents and children and teachers just on different levels, different topics. You send them, like here, let's say you send them the word list for the long vowel digraphs. They select, now if we're going to do the 9-square bingo, tell them only choose from these 9 words. Give them those words. They then take it, they write the words on the bingo squares in the little boxes. Talk about empowering the child. They decide where the word's going to go. Now when you say, are you ready? Your bingo sheets are done? They're done. I had a boy once, he was so dyslexic and dysgraphic. He would not do the homework because he wouldn't write the assignment. He wouldn't write a paper. He wouldn't hand anything in. He was 11 years old. I said to him, let's just play bingo. I said, I don't want to tell you you decide where to put the words. I'll make up my own sheet. You make up yours. He never said a word. He picked up a pencil. He started writing. I said, I'm not going to look at it. It's yours. By empowering them and by writing, they have to encode. They have to spell it. They have to look at the sequence of the letters. And if they make a mistake, and even if you're playing on Zoom, like for example, let's say here I put up on, I'm going to show, okay, suppose a little boy or little girl, they make this up. You could use pennies, by the way, at home. They can use whatever they want. If you ask them, instead of using a marker, just take your pencil and put an X on the word. Then when they have to play again, they have to rewrite it. Some of them go, sure, no, I want to write because I want to do it differently. I didn't do it right. I know I put the words in the wrong place. That's why I didn't win. Others go, I don't want to write it again. And that's okay. But then you can't have them write on it. I know the children. I know which ones will play again. Know who you're working with and just go along. You can give them a new sheet, write it again. Many of them love doing it. Now when you say, okay, here's the word toe, T-O-E. Can you find the vowel digraph? O-E. Oh, 2 vowels go walking. The first one does the talking. Oh, you don't hear the E. And now they're looking if they have it on their bingo sheet. It's a great game. And I know I'm probably running out of time, but I did one of these 2 weeks ago, and I did another one on something else the other day. I think prefixes, suffixes, and some woman gets on. She said, "Hi, remember me? I was on your doing the vowel diagrams with you." She said, "I loved it so much that I actually found a company. The kids don't even have to write it in; it's already there." And I sent it to all the kids, and they already have their sheets. That's the whole point. I did it so they write it. By writing it, they have to process the letters. And if they usually can write it, they can read it. So that's the whole point of this. Again, you'll be downloading this. This is all part of the directions. You don't pay for any of this. It's all part of the games. Okay, showtime. Now, why? Well, as I said, every one of the fun books or the stories come with the same story in play form. And it comes with paper dolls. You can use that. I've had where the children come dressed up as the different characters. It's up to them, whatever they like to do. A lot of them love just cutting these out, and they do the plays with the paper dolls. When you do the plays, they do not memorize the lines. They read them because we're doing reading. We're teaching reading. In your downloadables at the end, your free resources, you're all getting a free Valentine's Day play. This one is in the R Controlled fun book. It's in that category because it deals with Valentine cards on Valentine's Day. And there are many, many, many R Controlled words. And Tiger, who's the star of all he's the little character who's the star of all the plays and all the stories. He has dyslexia. And he finally learned AR, AR, R, R. So when you have to draw the heart, it's HART. And his parents and his sisters and brothers and siblings keep saying, Tiger, it's HEART. And he's going, no. Well, here's our story and how Tiger writes his card. And he finishes with heart, HEART. But it's just to let the children know they're not alone. Other people are struggling. And you'll have this for Valentine's Day if you choose to use it with your class. We're back now. We've gone through all the different books that we're using to teach beginning phonics and fluency. And where have we gone? We went to level, engage, activate, rehearse, all these activities. Neural change. How do you know? As I said, we can't do an MRI. So there's the N. If you look along the top, there's our neural change. You reassess. Basically, that takes 5 minutes, 3 minutes. You just look to see the last thing you're at and go back. Also go back, make sure they didn't forget. Do they still know their vowels? Do they still remember how to decode a CVC word, a VCE word, even if you're now up to diphthongs? The problem is once you get into school and you have so many children and it's so difficult, it's as if you're on a conveyor belt and you're just moving. I remember a boy walked in one day and he goes, oh no, we passed all this, we're up to the UDGE, UDGE, hedge, and then there's DGE. I went back, he didn't remember any of this. Okay, so there's so many children that learn and then they forget it. Repetition, keep going back. Go back to your song. And every so often, go back to the alphabet, go back to the consonants and sing it and say, I know it's so easy. And they love it when it's easy. It just makes you feel good when you know you can do something. Okay, we put bundles together for all of you to make things a little less expensive, even though it's not a very expensive program. It's not into thousands of dollars. You can buy the beginning phonics 12-pack. You'll see it right there, beginning with the alphabet and goes right through to the diphthongs. All the card games I just showed you are in there. It's reduced from like $155.40 to $119.88. And then we're giving you a 20% discount on any orders you order because you were here. And that's on top of it. Then we have Fluency, the same thing. You can do the actual decoding or the Fluency. Big book of short plays many teachers love because it's all the plays and all the stories with Tiger Tuesday and his family. And it's so there, all these plays at the end, we have them separated, the CVC plays and the VCE, but it's only the plays. We have your alphabet and consonant sounds. So if you're with very beginning, it's a little less expensive. It's together. You get 184 lessons with all the games in there again. And then you have your giant bundle, which we say reading and sell, because the stories, these are all your CVC, VCE, and with all your stories, they incorporate social emotional learning and everything. Now, let's move on. And let's say, let's see, okay, now let's say you get to here, and the children know all this, but they're struggling with some of those higher, more advanced phonics. And I follow, by the way, I don't know if I've ever mentioned, it follows Orton-Gillingham approach. So if you're following Orton-Gillingham, the entire program follows Orton-Gillingham. So now we get into your open and closed syllables, and into your ing and ank and ong, and then your hard and soft C and G, your LEs, and then into prefixes, suffixes, decoding 3-syllable words, 4 and 5-syllable words. All that is here. And many children are at that level at this point. So we have your more advanced assortment for grades 3 through 5th and adult. I use this a great deal with the adults. I just did, as I said, I did a webinar the other night just on playing bingo using all your prefixes and suffixes, using that one deck. That's all it is. You buy the one deck, it's $12.95, but you could buy the assortments at a better price. The other thing that I find that many teachers who are teaching English as a second language, they love the downloadable grammar bundle. It's only $12. It's parts of speech, capitalization, and punctuation, all by playing. I don't know if you can see the little cards on that little boy's in front of him. I mean, the parts of speech, there's 12 bingo, they're not bingo, we call it lotto boards. And okay, one of them will be on proper nouns, pronouns, common nouns, future verbs, present tense, past tense, prepositions. Every card is something else, adjectives, adverbs, and with a deck of cards. And who has this one? This is called Hudson River. That's a proper noun. I have it. I have proper noun. And whoever fills up their board first. Again, you can do this on Zoom, in school or on Zoom. It's a great little bundle. We also have for these children general knowledge. They don't really want to sit and read a book, but they're going to play a game. And they love doing this because they're playing. And you choose any game you want, from Go Fish to bingo to whatever you decide. And memory, and we have here 12 different decks, and you can look at this. And again, if you buy them together in the bundle, it's a little less money, or you can buy just one deck if you want, 1 or 2 decks. And then we have vocabulary. And this a lot of them use this with their beginning readers, even with preschoolers, even before our program even begins. And just with those preschoolers. And you learn animal names, foods, parts of the body, articles of clothing, colors and shapes, and words, the number words. That's the vocabulary. Oh, math. We also have the games for math. You'll know the level. You know they cannot remember their number facts. They don't understand numbers. They don't. We have it even for geometry, fractions. Biggie, multiplication, and you're playing gin rummy with multiplication facts. One summer I had a group of little kids coming here, and there were 4 little boys became best friends. They did not know the times table. They were maybe 9, 10, that age group, 8, and they decided to come in early. And I'd say to them, "Why are you all here so early?" Well, they would go to the table in the back together, and they set up gin rummy with the multiplication facts. And I had chips from another game or something, and they took them. And my husband looked and he said, "They're gambling." And I said, "Yeah, but they're learning the times table. I'm not giving them real money, but it engaged them. It kept them engaged, and they were learning the multiplication facts. One last thing, which you're going to be downloading again in your free resources, it's a sheet to empower the child also. It's not where the parent has to sign it and everyone's watching them and judging them. I cannot overstress how much they have to practice. Purposeful, playful practice. And what they do is they fill it out, the day, the date, the number of minutes they actually were playing the game or they were doing the play, and they say the activity they were doing and who they were with. Many of them, by the way, it's grandparents. The parents are busy, the parents are working, the grandparents play a very large role. Very important with self-esteem. Grandparents, a child in between mom and dad and teachers, those relatives come in. And how that child perceives, that relative perceives them. Of course, mom and dad are over that. And the teachers have a huge role. But the grandparents play a big role here. Okay, that's that activity. And then we have come to the end. And so, again, go to stronglearning.com. Contact us if you want a volume or school-wide discount. We also do that, work with schools with that. If you have any questions, please contact us. We're always here. Someone is here to answer, or we will always get back to you. Right now, I thank you all so much for coming here. And Leslie, do we have any questions? I know most of the time they ask me, how do I know where to begin? How do I know? Again, I usually give these talks, years ago, pre-COVID, and I would give the whole talk, and then people would be lined up. Okay, I teach second grade. What should I use? I teach third grade. What should I use? You can do a lot of this yourself. You have your own material. You can buy the whole program. Just buy pieces and supplement any program. The purpose of whether it's the math, the general knowledge, anything, it's to engage those children, because what we have found over the years, we lose them. I could lose them sitting here one-to-one, okay, because these children that need the help don't want to do it. It's come better with older people because they're there, they'll stay with you. But even then, you'll lose them. People's minds don't stay focused on something that long. We all say that everybody has ADD. Not really. Most people just don't stay engaged, and it's up to the teachers usually to try to keep them there and keep them active. Okay.
Linda, we have a
Yes.
question. Olga has asked, what do you suggest for students that are not associating the sound with the letter?
Okay, that's a tough one, because dyslexia, the definition of dyslexia is that they can't put a sound with the image. And they sometimes, even though it's English as a second language, some of these children still could have dyslexia. Okay, they still could have some sort of disability with it. If you keep trying to teach them the sound and you're holding up, let's say you're playing that with an here and an there, and you're trying to show them and they may not hear the sound. And especially when they come from another country, you get the sound during those very early years as infants, listening to the sounds people are saying to you. Okay, now you go to read and they can't put a sound to the image because that's not what's in their brain. So you have to say to them, you have to have pictures, show them things, visuals. So they have to use a different neural path. It's not going to be automatic. So if they're having trouble with that long the A, find out, say A, and try to figure out what word they know. Come up with something that they can relate to. Can I have the other back so I can see everyone? I can write all these things and create all these programs. I can't figure the Zoom thing out. So my husband, thank God, he's with me here. Okay. Did that help? I don't know who asked. Olga.
I think so Olga asked.
Olga, okay.
Also, Roshi just asked, I know Roshi well, and she runs an outreach for adults.
Okay.
And she just said, I can use these with adults as well.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. I had years ago, one of the school districts actually bused this 17. Well, I started when he was 14. This boy, they told me he was belligerent. I was so afraid who was walking into my office. I had no idea. This little school bus came up to the office, and they came to me 3 days a week. And he was 14, still reading on second grade level. We ended up, when he was 17, senior year in high school, he became an Eagle Scout, the most wonderful human being. He's actually finishing college out in Montana right now, because there's a whole disabilities program out there for dyslexia. And I worked with some other kids in high school. I worked with a woman once, Mary, and I'll never forget, she was 52. And she called herself Stupid Little Mary. And this poor woman, her children had already grown. She was lonely. She wanted to go to work, and she could not read or write. And she told me the school she had gone to, and she said in those days, they just called her Stupid Little Mary. And she had severe dyslexia, which of course they didn't know then what was happening. And I was doing all this back in those days with my index cards, with that, all of us with our index cards and our construction paper, making all these things. And I got her to read, and she started learning the times table. And we made up packets she could use in the car while she was driving. And she came in one day and she said, I got a job. She applied to his Dress Barn before they went out of business. She went to Dress Barn. She was a nervous wreck filling out the application. They put her in the back counting the clothes. You went back. She was the one in charge of giving out, you have 6 items, you have 3 items. Okay, then they moved her, and she became one of the managers because she was so wonderful. And she came in one day and she said, I am panicked. He asked me to go into Manhattan to buy clothing for the store. And I said, just take everything with you. So you always have little notes next to you and just tell people, I don't want to spell anything wrong. I don't want to spell your name wrong. And she always had it with her. But she learned because the great thing about adults, even if you use this very young, that's right. I used a driver's ed manual with that boy who became the Eagle Scout. That year he would take him an hour to read one page, but we managed with the driver's ed manual, and he passed and he got his license. And they'll read you the questions, we found out, when you go to the motor vehicle, because they had dyslexia. But they're really motivated, the adults. And it's
Linda, apropos to that, actually, Roshi has asked, which bundle would you suggest then to buy for adults?
Adults, I would have, because I go from one to the other, I would say begin with the phonics. The phonics one, they're 12 pack, and then the phonics fluency. And then when you see that they've made it past the diphthongs, I would then go to the advanced phonics and then the advanced phonics fluency. Those packs, you're just ready. Whether you have anyone at any level, you're just ready. You have it ready for them. Okay.
Thank you. And Francis has asked, Francis Gunnison, what if the student has learnt all the letter sounds and then cannot read bag, big, bug, bog? So discouraging. Student is 16 years old, adopted 2 years ago, no formal education or literacy in native language.
No literacy even in native language. Wow. And he may, or they may have dyslexia. It could be that it's difficult. The problem, and this I see a lot of kids that come to me from Wilson, they've had Wilson forever and they've memorized everything, but they can't apply it because they're not thinking. They just don't think. And so we'll get to a word. I had a 10th grade boy, I'll never forget it. Big guy, good looking guy, football player, severe dyslexia. And he was reading multisyllabic words. And he got to the word stick, S-T-I-C-K. Okay? Could not figure it out. What I think happens to a lot of them, they see it, that anxiety goes up and the brain shuts down. Because I don't know if you're aware, when you become anxious, the dendrites at the end of the neuron shrink. And it's as if you have a severe case of ADD. There's nothing there. So I tell this to every student. Tell your students it's the anxiety. And I had a little 12-year-old sit here one day. We were going to do fractions. And she went, oh, I think my dendrites just shrunk. And I said, they probably did. And I said, just don't break out in a rash. Just wait. I said, okay, take a deep breath. And then she said, I think they're going back. Okay. Well, this is what happened to this poor boy that day. He got to the word stick. And I think I said to him, wait, you know it. Let's slowly. So write it. Have them write the word, S-T-I-C. Write it. That changes everything for a second. You're not reading, you're writing. And they know what to write. I said, okay, cover up the whole word. Slide your hand across. What sound do you have? He goes, S. I said, what's next? It goes T. I said, what's that blend? S-T. St. Then we went to the end of the word. What's C-K? And he went, K. I said, oh, it's the vowel. It's usually the vowels that do them in. And we got to the I. And I said, is it long or short? How would you know? Is it squished between two consonants? Are there two vowels together? Is there a consonant, then a magic E? You know all your rules. And I said, take your time. They need time. They feel stressed and they get nervous and you lose them. Take your time. And he's looking and I said, just think, is it between two consonants? And he's sitting there and he goes, it's between two consonants. And he's relaxing at this point. He says, that means it's short I. Short I is I, st, I, k. And he hit the table and he yells, stick. What is wrong with me? I said, you have dyslexia. There's nothing wrong with you. You poor thing. These poor kids, I've had so many workshops and summer programs just for dyslexic kids to come in and, oh my God, their stories, their embarrassment. And one summer, 2 summers ago, before COVID, we wrote a book. And they were all dyslexic and dysgraphic. And we wrote, I think it was 32 pages. I had it published. I presented at the library to each one of them with an award. Okay, they wrote it. This is a great thing for you to try. There's something else to try. Come up with a sentence or come up with a topic. I asked them at the beginning of the summer. The problem was they were all going on different summer vacations. So I never knew who was going to be there which Saturday. So we started it. They came up with a topic about, which was amazing. So they're all dyslexic. None of them knew each other, all different schools. They were 11, 12, and 13, around that age group. And they said, we want to write about, they all agreed, they voted, and it was on water pollution and the oceans and the seas. And then I said, do you want present, past? And they all voted. Then we came up with characters. Then each one, we were playing the games, but then each one could go to the table in the back. They decided how much time. One person started with one line. And you do this. You have one child begin. I do it with one child even, just myself and the other child. I start a story, okay? And I'll write, and then we time it 2 minutes. Bzz, buzzer goes off, we're done. Okay, and the kids could say, no, I don't want 2 minutes. No, I want 1 minute. No, I want 5 minutes. Whatever they wanted. One said, I want 30 seconds. Without fail, they all said, wait, give me more time. Okay, and so what we did, the buzzer went off. Okay, 2 minutes are up, or whatever we did. And they could continue if they wanted. And then they had to whoever was coming up next, they had to read what they wrote. to the next child. So now the next child knows what the story's about. They then have another 2 minutes to continue it. And then and what happened by the end, they were fighting who was going to complete the story because everyone wanted a different ending. And they were fighting who was going to, and these kids, they were drawing pictures and illustrating it on their own time. Okay. And then by the end, I was just walking around. They wanted more time. They were using the computer. They were arguing how it was going to end. But we ended up with this fabulous story about pollution and characters they put in, and they drew pictures. And we actually ended up at the library, and the newspaper was there to take pictures of them. It was.
Thank you so much. We all wish we had more time. Thanks very much for helping us.
Oh,
definitely, I will use bingo with my students. That's one for sure.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I put the link to Nice TESOL in the chat box. Thank you, Linda, so much. I'm sure we'll see you in the future. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you all so much.